Anyway, how are you? How's it been going? I saw your Yuzuha video. I watched it before stream today. How was working on the Yuzuha video?
It was tough because I started actually working on it Tuesday. So everybody started like over the weekend, right? Whenever the early access got started, I obviously didn't have a chance to.
Oh yeah. You were away, right?
Yep. I was at Anime Expo.
Was it good?
It was super fun and a lot less sweaty and disgusting than I remember it to be previously. So shout outs to the organizers.
Nice. I'm glad.
Also, hold up. Let me get my Fugi tech. Also, what is your...
What is what?
What is your...
Were you going to ask me about my Fuji tech?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just two pictures of me. One of me talking and one of me not talking.
No, I just wasn't ready for it to be so handsome.
Oh, right, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's what you meant. Got it.
Yeah.
And I guess for me, for any of Josh's community who don't know who I am, my name's AverageLuckGamer. I make videos about Zenless Zone Zero, mostly as Josh said, like commentary stuff. Sometimes meta commentary, sometimes like the positioning of certain things within the game, and I stream on YouTube and Twitch and make videos about Zenless. That's pretty much it. I feel really bad. I'm bad at pitching myself. I'm not as sociable and friendly as Josh.
Okay, but let's get down the brass tacks because we did want to talk about Yuzuha today, and
we do
the kind of developing narrative around her. Not to say that there's anything really bad about her, but there's a lot more nuance that I feel like a lot of people are starting to key on with her versus just, oh, she presses E and gets everything, which I mean, that's like the simple breakdown of what most people, can see as in terms of like the iceberg of it. But
I mean, she seems really good for Anomaly, right? But I also feel like she's not a slouch when it comes to supporting like any team. That flexibility is something that we only have with Astra at the moment, and I still think Astra is probably going to be our most flexible limited S rank support. I mean, there's only two, right? So our most flexible limited S rank support is still going to be Astra, I believe, because I think that she's going to work really well in those attack comps because of her damage bonus being a little bit higher than Yuzuha's and the crit damage buff being, present. And that also means that she's still going to work pretty well in Anomaly comps. So I think if you could only pull one limited S rank, I still think it would be Astra. But I think Yuzuha is like the support for Anomaly comps. So if you have a very heavily Anomaly invested account, then Yuzuha is probably the one that you should get. And if you already have Astra and enough pulls for Yuzuha and a few Anomaly characters, then I think, it's definitely worth considering, even if Astra's currently, doing everything you need her to do in your Anomaly teams. Yeah, that's where I kind of sit on the whole thing, is that, like, it's nice for us to have another limited S-rank support. I like the way that she's been positioned in the meta, is that she's not as universal. I don't really like the word universal, but she's not as good everywhere as Astra, but she's more specialized for Anomaly, and she also will work in the, your attacker-based comps, because she's going to provide like 1200 attack, right? So if, for example, you didn't have Lucy provides like 600 attack, and is it 10-15% crit damage or something like that? It's not much. Right?
M6 something Lucy. Like that, and then she grants like a few energy.
Yeah,
that's
so
about
M6
it,
Lucy. Yeah, if you're replacing an M6 Lucy with an M0 Yuzuha, you'll see a huge uplift, even if it's not Astra. So she's still going to be able to cover those team comps, but that's not what she's designed to do. And I think that's a really good spot for a character to be in, where they're an upgrade over the A ranks that are currently being used to do that job, and then the S ranks are going to be, well, then when you compare her to a limited S rank who's meant to do that job, i.e. Astra, she's not as good, and I think that's fine. How do you feel about it?
I think it's perfect. To where like
everything about it
is perfect. No, but like in terms of like how they've kind of positioned her, I completely agree with you that she doesn't cover the breadth in terms of like horizontal coverage. She isn't as wide coverage as
we didn't want to use the word universal, did we? She's not as general. She's not as generalist.
Yet you'll find so much value within those anomaly comps, and like I've been starting to test out some wacky non-anomaly comps just for the hell of it. Although,
Okay, yeah, because you mentioned that in the video. So how's that been going? How have you found her with?
With non-anomaly comps, not as fruitful as I thought it would be, but that's more to like me just not being the most adept just yet. And like one of the biggest things that I feel like a lot of people are going to like, not necessarily mistake, but like it's kind of hard to say mistake because I don't want to make it sound like it's necessarily a bad thing, but I'll just outright and say it. A lot of people overuse Yuzuha. Like,
what do you mean overuse?
Yeah. They'll use her skills way too much and or like have her on field more than they actually need her.
Ah, right. I see.
Yeah.
Right,
Which is
okay.
like,
Cool.
she's only using a couple skills and maybe like a parry every now and then. What are you talking about, Josh? Like that's it. Like her buffs are so freaking, they last years.
Yeah, I think I saw it was like 40 seconds.
Yeah.
So
It is so long, chat. You guys don't know how long 40 seconds is. It is incredibly long. It is one of the longest standing buffs we will ever see in the game. And all you have to do is just press E.
Yeah, like for context, that means you have to do it 4 times in the Deadly Assault run. 4. And that's 100% uptime. Yeah, that's crazy.
But where the nuance comes in is with the sugar points. So her EX skills, her her parries, her dodges, her chains ults.
Yeah.
Those give
you want to make sure you got enough of those points.
Exactly. Yeah. But as long as you have like a couple of points here and there, and like let's say you parry once or twice, like you'll have enough points for a whole rotation, which you guys will get a handle on her once you pull her to, next week. You guys will notice that you overuse Yuzuha, whereas you should be focusing more on your sub DPSs, aka like your sub anomalies, or like your main your on-field anomaly, aka like Jane Doe's or Miyabi's, etc., etc. That's one of like the big learning curves with her. That you'll find out that like, you're actually overusing her. Whereas like she will not be on the field as much as even you might already think you're not using her.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of down for that. Because to be honest, like when I saw that there was more on fielding of her.
Yeah.
In some of the content creator beta footage, and naturally there would be more in that footage because people are using her more regularly. Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is I'm kind of glad to know because I didn't want that to be a bonus for Astra. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah. Because Astra takes up like no field time.
Yes,
which is great, but also it's kind of a little bit frustrating because you don't really get to play her. So yeah. It's good to know. It's good to know that it's similar. It's similar.
Like low-key, it's similar in time of field, which for those of you who are like, oh, I do want to see Yuzuha more. You will see Yuzuha when she parries, when she dodges and does her other parts of the skill. Like that in itself already, you'll be able to see a lot more than Astra. You'll see the skills and all that stuff. Just again, not as much as you would with your sub DPSs or main or on fielder. I use sub DPS like just colloquially to include like your sub anomalies, and then one pairing that I'm finding that I love is with stunners, with off-field stunners.
Yeah,
bro, Trigger, Pokra, and somewhat of Jufufu, not really Jufufu, but like just mainly Trigger and Pokra. Oh, it's so much fun.
Really?
So one of the biggest problems, and for those of you who are a little bit more in tune to the meta, one of the biggest problems, let's say with a mono electric comp, let's say Yanagi Trigger, right? Trigger takes a lot of that electro anomaly away because of the speed at which she applies electric as a baseline for those.
So she essentially dilutes the electric anomaly from Yanagi.
Correct. But TLDR chat, when you build up to your anomaly, if you have multiple characters who are of the same element who contribute an anomaly, it dilutes the contribution of stats towards the attribute anomaly that's hit. AKA, let's say you have 100% of application with Miyabi. Then you're just factoring in all of Miyabi's anomaly proficiency, all of her attack, etc. Yanagi is electric, so she's applying 100% electric. Anomaly, attack, you take all that into consideration. But when you add in Trigger, as she starts applying electric, you have to also factor in the percentage of Trigger's contribution, which because her anomaly proficiency isn't that high, your total amount of shock dealt will be less. But with
Kuno
that,
said something in my chat. He said, I thought that was debunked.
it's not a subjective thing. It's an actual like mechanic of the game. Oh, if you guys are talking about overall like the macro of it, here's the thing. Right? Because you're applying so much of it. That's why Yanagi trigger. That's why the mono electric comp is so strong. However, imagine if Yuzuha is also taking up that space of electric, allowing the majority of the electric application to still be Yanagi. That means not only are you getting the bust from Yanagi, but you're also getting stronger, more higher contribution from Yanagi percentage wise, such that your anomalies and disorders
makes sense to me from because you're hitting shock more consistently, more frequently.
Yes.
So essentially, the fact that it's being diluted isn't necessarily that bad.
Yes. But imagine that you don't get diluted as much.
Like, imagine if you get it with no dilution as well. Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
I see where we're going. Right.
Yes.
I mean, to be honest, when I first heard that, I was like, that's great.
But chat, hopefully that makes sense now. So like with the consideration of the micro and now the consideration of the macro, you can now see how it plugs that small hole. So yes, you still have the whole macro of your full damage breath, yet in those small instances of, electric application, it's majoritively percentage wise going to be your front runner anomaly applier, which in this case is going to be your Yanagis. In the physical comp, it's going to be your Jane Doe and Alice. So that means that the damage is going to be even that much more stronger than you would have assumed in a mono anomaly comp.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the coolest things I think about Yuzuha, to be honest.
Aside from just like disorder comps, mixed attacker comps, like I say attacker just generally, but like, let's say attack and anomaly, maybe we can use Grace again. I mean, Grace was always going to be a factor of part of F2P teams. So
there's a question here. So it's going to be a 5% damage increase, 10%? Give me numbers, man.
I haven't calculated it.
Yeah, I don't get late. And Hoyoverse don't let me into the content creator beta anymore. So I wouldn't know. There's probably theorycraft stuff out there. And there's probably, to be honest, like, I don't know why anyone would calculate it necessarily, though. Like, just specifically that anomaly build-up change. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't even want to get
like the one thing.
It's good. It's better.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's better.
Yeah. On paper, it's better. Per the calculations, it's very hard to determine, especially since it's like per run basis. Also, again, you have to consider like the anomaly buildups per run and like how much you can build up per X amount of runs, and it's just way more difficult to calculate anomaly versus just a pure like attacker like single stun rotation.
Yeah, there's a question here I don't even know whose chat it is, but Requiem is a name that I normally see. For someone who has Jane as anomaly, would you recommend getting Yuzuha anyway? I would say if you're planning on any future anomaly characters, I think so. Yeah.
I would have to agree.
But I think if you're only gonna have Jane and that's it, you're not planning on pulling any other anomaly characters ever, because you hate anomaly, then don't get her. But if you're like, hey, Anomaly's pretty chill, I'll probably get some more Anomaly characters eventually, then yeah, you should probably get her. Follow-up question.
Yes.
Because how well would Yuzuha work because I know she buffs disorder damage,
correct,
and she also buffs the Anomaly build-up. But I guess my question is, how much would she help in like a Jane hyper carry situation? Is that something you've tested with maybe Jane Seth or Jane Lucy or something?
So yeah. In terms of Jane Seth, it actually is really stinking good still, just because of the overall application of, let's say it is Seth, right? We get more AP bonuses, and then also. Yeah. Thinking about
it's
it,
like 100 additional AP or something.
The actual boss will still apply to Seth, so Seth is still actually building up more, and you could get like maybe one or two. So that means you can likely
use him as a disorder, like to help with disorders as well.
Exactly.
AM 6th, maybe. Interesting.
Exactly. So, although Seth is not my favorite option, but it is still very much applicable, and I mean,
who would you put there from like a low investment perspective?
Outside of like, so if we're talking about like A tiers, right? Pure double support, I haven't had the most success with, so I think Seth would probably be like the middle ground of like being a pseudo support, yet also providing anomaly stuff like that. But I could also see Nicole, because of her like ability to be played as a pseudo Anomaly agent. Yeah, I see people keying in on that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess the thing is though is that like for me, like because I'm thinking about like a Jane hypercarry situation.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it'd be kind of interesting to run one. And my partner started playing ZZZ recently. She loves Jane.
Lovely.
And she's in that same position where she doesn't have anyone else, but she's thinking about pulling Yuzuha for Jane. And I think that she probably still should. But yeah, I guess that she doesn't have anyone else who's really invested, so she'd end up running something like Jane, Seth, specifically for Jane, and this is only for Jane, not other Anomaly characters, but only for Jane. She needs an Anomaly or someone from her faction in order to activate her critting on the anomalies. So yeah, she's kind of pretty much locked down to either needing another Anomaly. And the only other low investment Anomaly option that we really have is Piper, and that doesn't make sense. You're not going to run Jane and Piper.
Sense. Nope.
Yeah, so it's pretty much Seth. It has to be Seth. As long as that team kind of works, then that's chill. I guess the follow up I have though is that like if we're in the realms of talking about double support, what happens when you put Yuzuha and Astra together?
I haven't tested it out because it's just like that. That's too.
It's surely
too
it's just overkill, right?
It's a little bit overkill, but I can see like Vivian, Astra, unless you're really like trying to prove a point, like you shouldn't be using all those 3 units in the same team.
Yeah. I forgot. It's actually physical anomaly build up on Jane. Sorry, Kion. Thank you for calling me out. Yeah, it's actually phys anomaly build up, but it's still very good. It's very good.
It's low key a necessary buff for Jane, especially like for how consistent she wants to maintain that pressure. Because if she doesn't have that pressure of applying physical, she almost becomes useless. Hitting a million every like 10 to 16 seconds is just like every other character can do that these days. Like what makes Jane still somewhat relevant is the way that she's able to continually, maintain that physical build up pressure with her, let's say your signature or like, with the additionals. And then, with Yuzuha also now being able to buff that build up too. Just like, like I don't want to get too ahead of the horse because, we're still just getting Yuzuha, but like Alice, man.
Yeah.
A lot more up to date in terms of like play style and appliance. Yeah. Did you have any more points on Jane? Because I know a lot of people are like, Bernice, Josh, ALG, what about Bernice?
No, I think for me, I'm most excited about Jane just because I feel like as an anomaly agent, Jane is the one who's got left behind the most.
Yes.
And it would be nice to see. I feel like she has gotten love. Like she's got the indirect buffs of Vivian. She's getting a further indirect buff with Yuzuha. And I feel like she doesn't. I'm kind of hopeful that she won't need a direct buff. But if she does get a direct buff, I'm hopeful it's not going to need to be too much. Because I kind of don't want the ZZZ dev team to be like, oh yeah, we fucked up another one, guys. We're gonna have to sort this one out. Yeah. Just to be honest, I think all she really needs is like a change to her additional ability, so it's like support, or same faction, or anomaly.
I agree.
And then it will be like, oh, okay, so now you can just run anyone.
Yeah. That would be super freaking helpful. I mean, to be fair, she is like one of the characters next on the block, right? Or supposedly.
I am buying.
Ooh, who do you think the next character that's gonna be buffed is?
I don't think anyone else needs a buff. Ooh. I think we're good. I think we're chill. I think if Jane doesn't get the additional ability buff that I mentioned just then, I don't think anyone else needs it. I think, and if they were going to do anything to anyone, it would be, I think, additional ability for Jane.
Okay.
And I think that's all she needs. But I think she's getting the indirect buff of Yuzuha now. So
yes,
if she can still clear with with an A rank, a low investment A rank like Seth, plus Jane, plus Yuzuha, I think that's fine. Is there anything that surprised you about Yuzuha?
Aside from her effectiveness, let's say with like mono comps and like alt comps, like one of my favorites is, I kind of mentioned before, maybe a little bit surprised. Let's say a little bit of surprise. Is her drive?
A little bit surprised.
A little bit of a surprise. Drive discs.
Actually, you know what? That's what I was going to ask you about. What's going on with her drive discs? Because everyone's saying different things.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull it up on my stream, but you don't need to. You can just listen to me.
Okay.
But TLDR. Let's just go down the list, and I'm pretty sure you can tell me how much they are, but how much does Swing Jazz give as a buff?
15%.
Okay. How much does Protopunk give as a damage bonus buff?
15%.
Okay. How much does Astral Voice give as a damage buff?
Astral Voice is bait. Not generally, but on Yuzuha it's bait. She only has one move that causes quick assist, and you're waiting on energy cooldown. So you're gonna have one stack up, unless you're running her with Miyabi and Sukaku, and then you're gonna like manage your quick assists on Sukaku as if you're playing mono ice. I think Astral Voice is bait.
No, the thing is that you most likely will have two almost always.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I thought and this is maybe my lack of know-how on Yuzuha, but I thought it was mostly a quick assist on EX special, and then that was like it.
Yeah, but the way in which she is able to regen her abilities, she will generally always have two.
Okay.
Yeah, and let's say you're about to head into a stun window, you just ult and then chain.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you will have two a lot of the time then. Yeah.
Yes, but let's say you have two out of those three buffs. How much does that give you?
16. 16. It's 8 per stack, right?
Right. So we have 15, 15, and 16. So where is the difference between here, chat? And now you guys might be wondering, okay, so Josh, what? All these buffs are the same now. Now that we're looking at it across the board, of course, different applications to get said buffs, but they're all the same. So the difference lies in the two-piece. But Josh, which is the only really applicable two-piece that gives you something outside of like her baseline scaling stuff? That would be Swing Jazz, right? Because
you get the energy.
You get the energy. But what did we just talk about 5-10 minutes ago? How long does the buff last, chat?
Oh, right. The 40 seconds.
Yep,
right.
40 seconds. Understandably, chat, yes, 12, 10, 15 seconds for Swing Jazz, Astral Voice, Protopunk, yada, yada, yada. But just in general, the overall Yuzuha buff is 40 seconds. Do we really need energy regen? And especially if you're using Kaboom the Cannon and or Signature, you really don't need any more extra ER investment anyways, because the ultimate also refreshes, 25 or 35 energy. I think it's 25.
I have heard some stuff. It's not me who's heard this, by the way. I think I heard it from Kete. He said that Chinese players have been playing with two-piece.
Yes.
And just ignoring 4-piece sets.
Correct. So I talked to Io about this earlier as well. Why the 2-2-2 actually works extremely well. And this is to the credit of the CN folk, that Kaboom the Cannon, P5 or W5, however you call it, with Kaboom the Cannon and M1 can actually outperform M0 with Sig.
Yeah, I mean, still M1 though, you know.
Yeah, you still need to grab one or the other, right? You still need to grab one or the other. But if you are to use Kaboom the Cannon, then you need to compensate for the stats that which the 4 sets wouldn't give you. That's why you run 2-2-2. And if you were to run F2P completely M0 Kaboom the Cannon anyways, or Weeping Cradle, you would have to run 2-2-2 to make sure that you at least get a modicum of like 80 to 100% total buff potential.
Yeah, but it also means you can play like completely optimally without having to worry about doing specific things. So, for example, with the Protopunk, you might have to play suboptimally to get a defensive assist before the stun window. With the Swing Jazz, you have to chain on Yuzuha if you don't have an ultimate before the stun window. With Astral Voice, you have to build up the stacks and make sure they're up for the stun window. From an ease of play perspective, you can just play Yuzuha completely optimally without worrying about the set buff uptime. And yes, people are asking like, what 2-2-2? So the 2-piece on Yuzuha is almost always going to be the Phaeton's Melody for the AM, because that's part of what scales some of her buff. Is that right, Josh?
Correct.
The other 2-piece you would get is you would take Swing Jazz for the extra energy, and then you would take probably any of your attack sets.
Correct.
Potentially maybe AP. No, wait, her AP doesn't matter because she doesn't contribute to that anomaly buildup. So yeah, you would take the attack.
There is a situation, and it's physical. So if you're running, let's say, Jane Doe or Alice, because her skills technically do contribute, but like very minimally. So like, let's say you already have the 3,200 anomaly mastery, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Then you could go 2-piece AP, but that's like that's just nitpicking at that point.
But yeah, you could take, so you probably take the two-piece attack. So you take Astral Voice or Hormone. It seems like they're getting they're getting really good results with the 222.
So 222 piece, Product Phaethon's Melody, Swing Jazz, Astral Voice, or Protopunk. No, the Protopunk 2-piece doesn't matter. The only reason why 4-piece Protopunk works is because of the 15 bonus. Anybody can defensive assist. So arguably, like, it's not terribly difficult to maintain it, especially like if you start to learn runs, especially the new boss, like he's pretty aggro. So more than likely than not, like you will find an opportunity to always maintain Protopunk, as per my experience. But also
but also remember that Protopunk buff is, how long is it? Like 10 seconds? Yeah. So yeah, when you really want to trigger, well, it can be anyone who triggers a defensive assist. It doesn't have to be Yuzuha, right? But yeah, you want to trigger a defensive or evasive assist into stun, because some stun windows will go longer than 10 seconds, especially with lighter. So
yes.
But without lighter, you're probably looking at under 10 seconds. So it's complete.
Let's go Anomaly lighter. Yeah.
I think for me, I'm not feeling the proto, because I just don't want to work around it. There was someone who mentioned it earlier in chat. I'm not sure if it was your or my chat, but they said that her chain attack, from what they've seen, is very short. So if you were going to run a 4-piece, I would think if her chain attack's really short, and therefore you're not going to be losing much stun time by just doing it if you full chain on Yuzuha, then maybe Swing Jazz. But realistically, honestly, until we've got her in hands, across like all of the player base, we probably won't know what the best 4-piece is, because it does seem like she has 3 decent options. Yeah, maybe it just depends on your substats, really.
No, to be honest, like, and to your point, actually, kind of developing that thought. Like, more than likely, you'll just use her chain anyways, so that you can get the assist.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So that can also be extremely helpful. So by that virtue, just build Swing Jazz. I'm getting M2, so I know I'm getting Swing Jazz. So the one thing with Yuzuha,
this sounds like whale talk. Are we doing whale talk right now?
Well, I mean, we can just mention it.
I'm only joking. Apparently, her M2 is unbelievably cracked. Talk to me.
Yeah. So let's start with this blanket statement that, understandably, like Protopunk, Swing Jazz, Astral Voice, this conversation, like you can go either or way depending on like your certain situation. But per the Mindscape thresholds, you'll actually get different best in slots. So let's start with M2. M2 is definitely Swing Jazz, because every 20 seconds you'll be able to proc a chain attack off of Aftershock, or not Aftershock. What is it, chat? It's something. Basically, it just procs a chain attack for you
from her off field, like the sweet scare thing.
There you go. There you go. Yes. So
yeah.
So okay, basically, awesome. After you ult, like after the first maybe 15-20 seconds, like you always have 100% uptime on Swing Jazz buff. Then at M4, because you get to assist after you get a quick assist after you defensive assist or parry or whatever, Astral Voice then becomes the best in slot,
right?
Theoretically, because then you can actually get 3 points into Astral Voice.
Cool. I mean, to me, it does sound a bit like whale talk. I know, like my chat have already called me out several times for having M3 Yishuan. Yes. I'm a simp, okay? I'm a dirty simp.
I mean, the average player should have M3 anyways, right? Because you're the average gamer. So you guys are just unlucky. That's what it is.
But I do think though that if you're going to invest into Mindscapes, investing into a support Mindscape doesn't seem too crazy. But for me, I think I'm just going to stay away from Mindscape chat, to be honest. Because I don't think.
No, I totally get it.
Yeah, I don't see it. If you're thinking about it, like from a simp perspective, absolutely go for it. You do you, man. You could get Miyabi and Alice this patch as well. If you didn't get M2 Yuzuha, then it's like, well, okay, you should get those characters instead. Honestly.
One thing I will mention, and this is for the whales, and if you guys find this valuable, so be it. I understand that You know, I don't want to push the spend more than you can, you know, spend more than your means agenda. But M3 and M5 notoriously have just been, oh, you just level up your days and you just level up your attack percentages. But
oh, the +2/+2s, yeah.
Yep. But with Yuzuha, the scaling of Sweet Scare and the amount of energy that you get from Chain actually is scalable via the skill number. So AKA, you can have a longer uptime, quote unquote, which wouldn't matter anyways, because you should be using, you know, your EX special or whatever every so often anyway. So that's kind of negligent.
Which you need to use like 3 EX specials in a DA run.
Yeah, crazy. You can use her less.
Wild.
And then her ultimate will give you back more energy.
That's wild.
So that's the kind of like sneaky extra stuff that you guys could be getting if you are considering going there. Again, not trying to push that agenda, but for those of you who are like, oh, that's actually quite interesting. There you guys go.
Yeah, so I guess like the Mindscapes, again, normally it's a very small uplift for M3 and M5. So for Yuzuha, maybe slightly more than before.
There's a little bit more, you know, oomph to it, especially because notoriously, you know, support characters, what do they gain from M3 and 5? Not much. To be fair,
is she gonna
though,
be best in
like,
slot from Miyabi? There's a question. Is she gonna be best in slot from Miyabi? How do you feel about Mono Ice, Josh?
Mono Ice is amazing, man. It's definitely hard to pull off. I barely pull it off. I can only get like barely 45Ks on my runs because I'm super Pepega. But it is very, very fun if you guys can, you know, pull it off. Like, again, it starts from the build, right? Understandably, it starts from like how you construct the characters, and then, you know, anomalies, ICDs, learn stun windows. But like the culmination of all that, like, will kind of display your mastery of the game as a whole, I guess.
Yeah, no, I like Mono Ice. I'm a big Mono Ice believer. But yeah, I guess the reason why I asked the question is like, does Yuzuha, is she going to dethrone Mono Ice as the best Miyabi?
Yes, the dethroning.
Or like, okay, let me ask a more interesting question. But will she dethrone Mono Ice for the average player? Like, could you run? I think we were talking about this before you got here, or correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe we were talking about it before, like after you got here. But we were talking about the idea of running Miyabi, Sukaku, and Yuzuha, and then just bouncing backwards and forth between anomalies between Miyabi and Sukaku. And in theory, that would be a lot easier to play than having to also worry about the stun window. And then, but I guess the big problem is that you're then not going to have a really long stun window because of the freezes. Because you get less stun windows because Lycan isn't there. So yeah, I have you tried it? What did you think? You played Yuzuha at least, you know, like, can you give us an indication? Do you think that might be, even if it's not as good as Mono Ice, do you think it'll be comparable?
My experience so far, man, the balance that Lycon brings to that composition is just like, I kind of understated it before going into it because I was like, okay, the attack buff should like shake out pretty well, but my overall damage I found was quite a bit less than what I expected. And that's not to say that you can't run Miyabi, Sukaku, Yuzuha. You can definitely run them. You can definitely get your 20Ks, right? I'm not saying that you guys can clear with that comp. You definitely can, 100%. Honestly, like if you aren't clearing, that's a problem. But Lycon, how he slots into the team, and him just also in ways contributing as like a burst ice, you know, a player as well. Like you do your charged attacks, and then you do your 2 EXs, right? Like it does contribute quite a bit. You get your 35% chain damage bonus. You get your ice res down.
Yeah.
Like, man, and slotting into to Astral Voice, giving you the opportunity to get 16 to 24, which Yuzuha could also potentially provide as well. But like Lycon, I think it's also a learning curve thing too, just because we've only had less than a week to slot in Miyabi, Sukaku, Yuzuha. So don't hold me to that, chat, but as of my projections right now, it's still strong, but for more situations than not, you'll probably just stick to the classic Mono Ice comp if you guys know how to play it. Oh, I don't think we talked about, I mean, we kind of talked about Jshoea versus Yuzuha.
Oh yeah, because I kind of opened the conversation with a bit of
yeah.
it feels like she's Yeah, it feels like she's in a good spot. Basically, I think is what I said.
And for
In
Miyabi
comparison
teams,
to Astra.
I was kind of coaching EO through this. I know I mentioned EO a lot just because it was literally just this morning, but we were getting very, very similar numbers between the two for Dead and Butcher, but that was just for Dead and Butcher. If we were to slot this team with like a different unit, let's say Bringer, we could see a lot different numbers, which might benefit Yuzuha more low key, which projectedly it would. Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. Like the Miyabi conversation is very interesting because Miyabi is just such a polarizing, just like she has her own gravitational force. She is literally her own like system, right? Whereas other units are like, oh, you can put in two anomaly units and you have anomaly disorder comp, right? Miyabi is like, oh, you can build around Miyabi in just regular Miyabi, or you can build like pure disorder Miyabi. You can build hybrid carry Miyabi, you could build mono ice, which is kind of a mix of the two. So you're getting different looks in how you're compensating for the totality of the output of the team damage when it comes to either Miyabi Astra X or Miyabi Yuzuha X. And it's very, very enemy dependent. Okay, I know chat's wanting to do some account reviews, so we'll leave you guys to We'll leave you guys to it. Let's introduce yourselves, I guess. For those of you who are in my chats and don't know ALG, go. This is your time.
I make videos about the Zenless of the Zero of the Zone on the internet. You should come hang out sometime.
Yeah, and we'll be doing some fun little giveaways for ZZZ merch that I have. I literally went to ZZZ, or not ZZZ. I went to ZZZ. I went to Anime Expo to get you guys merch. So here, tune in my stream real quick. I gotta be careful about which side I show. I have a Jane Doe Dakimakura to give away.
That's cool. Can you not show the rest of it?
I shouldn't show the rest of it.
You shouldn't.
Yeah. Just you can imagine what comes after this. Just you can imagine.
Yeah,
it.
I mean,